I'd like to speak without you interrupting me, if that's okay. What I was communicating to you is that it's frustrating that you make decisions, because that's what you did. You made a decision to not give him medication because you wanted to check with me first, based on what you said. You said they gave him prednisone. I didn't want to give him the medicine because I wanted to check with you. And my issue with that is a couple of different reasons. For one, just practically, even if you didn't know any backstory. I took my son to the doctor. I checked him out of school. And I looked at him, and I, as a biology major, said, hey, he looks like he has something contagious. Let me take him to urgent care, which for one thing should be considered by you, since you know that I have a background, and I don't ever take them to the doctor unless I feel like they need to go to the doctor, and that's never. So the fact that I took him to urgent care really should have signified, if just a commonality of, man, that based on her personality of 20 years and the kids, then it must be something serious. And then after I took him to the doctor, I had to go finish what I was doing for work. So I had Gabby go. I didn't communicate with you at all about Noah's sickness today. I had Gabby go, pick up his medicine, get him a smoothie, and then I went to work. And I coordinated and communicated that for an hour with them to make sure it all got together. I got home, and he can't drink the smoothie because you put it in the freezer, and now it's frozen. And you didn't give him the medicine because you said you wanted to check with me first because you thought, or you thought it would be not a good medicine, correct?
I wanted to clear it with you that you knew that
I know why, but why did you want to clear it?
You had a negative reaction
right.
with it.
And so you...
And being that that's our son, I just wanted to clear it with you first.
Okay. Okay, so...
I never took prednisone.
Okay.
You did, and I remember what it did to you. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware that that's what they prescribed.
So, honey,
that
so...
all,
I know.
That is all. And
okay, can I finish? I'm not... Honey, can you please... Okay.
Melted by the time I got home.
I don't want to get upset. Go ahead, because you got to express yourself. You can't not hear.
You don't know everything.
Can't.
No.
I know.
I don't know everything.
The reason that I do know, I know I'm trying to communicate with you, and I know you're trying to defend yourself, and this is not a situation for you to defend yourself. This is a situation for me to communicate who I am to you. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, and me saying who I am to you, you don't get to answer back to that. I don't care what it's in regard to. I'm telling you, I'm explaining a situation. You're giving me your point of view, which you've already given me. I stated it again, which was correct, but you had to fill in something to make it even more correct. It's not correct, and I'll tell you why. Because the decision that you made to overly consider me was an incorrect decision, and as a result, he sat there and stayed suffering longer. So I am upset. So there was a consequence for you making that decision. You made the decision. It does not matter if you make decisions based on your good intentions or not. If you didn't make an educated decision, it doesn't matter. Because your intentions has to be based on education, okay, for one, about the situation, or education or knowledge, right? Knowledge of the situation is, you know that Noah was sick and they called, and then you told Noah to call me. That's your knowledge of the situation, because I took it from there. You have no further knowledge of the situation because I didn't contact you from that point. I didn't contact you after that point. I didn't even tell you we were at urgent care. I took the time because I have deadlines too. I know that you may not understand what they are because I don't communicate them to you, but I have just as urgent of deadlines that you have. So I did a lot of arrangements so that he could not suffer past 3 p.m. and now it's 10:14 p.m. and the decision that you made is the 7-hour suffrage. And I don't think that that's fair or right. And I understand you put the smoothie in the freezer because you didn't want it to melt. But what I want you to know is that from working in fast food and very basic jobs, that you could have just put it in the refrigerator and then it'll be ready to drink because it's going to take a very long time for a frozen yogurt pretty much to thaw out to become a smoothie again. And he hasn't eaten anything. So being a medical major, I understand that if he's sick like he is, that he needs hydration and he needs liquids and he needs to have all of that inside of him, and he hasn't had any of that inside of him. And based on your decisions that were based on your good intentions, you felt like, okay, well, she had this, but then that's one objection. You can't take one objection and make a decision. That's not based on experience or education. So just because that thought came to you, that doesn't mean that you could have done this. You could have said, I don't know, right? Even though I don't know how you got to that. I'm upset because I just don't know how you arrived to that place, okay? But if that was the case, as a husband, grown man, father, responsible, mature man, I would expect you to just text and say, hey, Noah got this medicine. Do you want him to take it? You didn't text me that. You texted me about an arcade, but you didn't text me about that. And so, yes, when I come home, I don't need a whole lot of time for all that information to make sense to me. And I know you want to fight to tell me why you did that. But what I'm saying is that I don't ever want you to make a decision on my behalf. When we went to counseling the last time, I said that. And this is an example of what that is. You act based on what you think is best for me. That's the situation. You thought for him now, okay? For him, but using me, right? So if you took him to the doctor and you had experience or issues with prednisone based on experience or education, not based on someone else's experience, because anything that you advise or any opinion that you have over me, it has to be based on your experience or your education. And the medical field is not that area for you. It has never been that area for you. It's never in your family's area. You knew nothing about it before. And the things that you do now is based on your ignorant knowledge of basic common first aid type stuff. That's just a fact. And I am upset that I have a college degree, and yet it doesn't matter because all the decisions that I make get counteracted by you based on good intentions. Well, good intentions that keep hurting people are not compatible intentions. And what I'm saying is it's all based and rooted in the fact that you don't understand and know who I am to be able to ever make a decision based on what you think that I think. And that's just being honest. It's not just this situation. Whenever I'm talking to you and I'm bringing up situations and then you finish my sentence, you take my story and make it and take my statements and then say, oh yeah, and then you finish it in a negative way. And I'm like, that's not even what it is. I'm not as negative as you are. And it's hard to be around. It's like suffocating in that way because you're negative and your idea of what I think is always negative. So you and your perception of me cannot be real. It can't be. It's so many times that you think for me and it's never correct. And you never say, man, like if I took the liberty to think past somebody and say, when I say think past somebody, what I'm saying is I'm going to make a decision void of talking to that person based on what I know. I don't know anybody that I would do that except kids. Except these 3 kids. I would never ever do that. And you do that to me all the time. I feel like I'm your dependent or child or one of your... Listen, the only dependent I am is on your taxes. That's it. But I'm not codependent on you in that way. So it's very frustrating to be with the only adult and human interaction that I'm with every day, all day. And every time that I tell a story or anything, you say, oh, and you finish it and say, oh, they probably did this. And I'm like, no, the story had a positive all the time. And then when I correct and say no, and then when I say the opposite of what you were thinking, I don't understand how it never dawns on you like, damn, how did I get so wrong about that? Because when I'm talking to somebody and if I guess and I finish their sentence and I'm totally wrong about the tone of the conversation, I check myself and I'm like, man, I need to be a better listener. That's the accountability that I have to the person that I'm listening to. Because if I don't do that, then my opinion of them is based on of who they are and everything. It's based on me not even listening and knowing that person or taking the time to really not just listen to that person, but see how they act or interact or things like that. When you think of the things that you're saying that you thought would be best for me, it is not compatible with me. And that is very upsetting just in general, but I can't help that. I can't get upset about you acting on whatever you think. You can't because it's always wrong. And it's always consequential to me. So when you say, oh, I thought you would want like this. right? I thought you would want this. You do that all the time, and it's never what I want. And then you get upset that it's not what I want, and whatever you did usually cost me time. It cost me something, money or whatever it was. I gotta go. It's always something, and then I can't even communicate or be upset because you can't handle it. You can't handle critique, and that's an issue, honey. Listen, I promise. I don't understand when I first met you. You were overly apologetic, right? Because what you don't understand is who I am is based on experiences that I had, just like who you are is based on experiences that you had. And when I met you, you were, and your family were way up here as far as what you wanted to do in life, and your status quo, and what you think of people, and what level, and what's that. We didn't have a status quo. And there's nothing wrong with that because our family has been around all types of money. But you guys are from a status quo of an arrogance, and that's not me making that up. My whole family felt that way. I've communicated that since I met you. It's not new. It's not new. Right? So when I'm making decisions, they're based on experience or education. And if it's based on experience, it costs me something. It costs me something. And I know a lot because it cost me a lot to know a lot. Because I got hurt physically, financially, detrimentally, some type of way. Because I had to learn that. And then I had to have you make a decision based on your lack of hard times, knowledge, and commonalities. You haven't worked common real jobs or whatever. You've always worked careers, professions, and that's great. But what it does is it takes you and disconnects you from reality. And you talk about Republicans, things like that all the time. It's not different. I'm just saying, you laugh and you scoff because you don't. I don't. I said, can I communicate? Because you're about to talk about an issue. And I'm talking of one part of an example. And I don't want to elaborate on examples, okay? So I'm going to try not to use any type of like similes or similarities so that we don't have to go down that road. Because if I have this much to say, it's because I have not been allowed to say it. And I've told you that I'm on a medication, and the only person that I can't control my emotions around is you because of who I have to be, a suppressed version of myself around you. And what I'm saying is, it's you versus me because I'm not taking the medication anymore. And so if I have to be silenced for your ego, it frustrates me and it emasculates you in my eyes because it's cowardice that you can't hear anything about yourself. It's cowardice that I can't say, you overstepped your boundaries over and over again all the time, and I can't ever correct you. Oh, it's over, it's over, it's over. You don't think that my dad did that over and over? Why would you think that I want to spend the rest of my life with my dad? Boy, I am not lying. I apologize for calling you boy. But that's, I apologize, and it says if you apologize to your brother, they should forgive you. But I can't apologize to my husband unless you roll your eyes, and now it's all in your head about that. So that's fine. Make it about what you want to make it. This is not about me telling you something and berating you. This is about me saying how your actions affect me. If you were just being an asshole all day by yourself, that's fine. Go do that, right? But when you affect me, that's a problem because we're married and we're together and naturally. So if I am to not ever be myself and communicate how you offend me, right, then I have to go get on medication again. And I think that's crazy. The fact that that is really what I have to choose is sad. And you're offended. Offense is a choice. I don't care if you're offended, honey. I'm sorry you're offended, but I'm also sorry if a lot of people get offended. The truth is the truth. And in your life, you have not been corrected enough because you would not. The reason why I can get told and I'm humble because all I've had to do was take responsibility for other people's crap all the time for either a small amount. I stepped my foot in the water too, or I da-da-da. So you know what I've done? I've over and hyper accountability myself to death. To death. You can say that I can't take criticism. You have yet to, on a day that doesn't have me starting off with a conversation like this, open up with a conversation. Any day that you want to tell me about me, you can tell me about me. Until this day, and I will talk to Apostle Curry about this one day, when he told me that I can't handle what you have to say, please, I know everything about me. There's nothing that you will tell me that'll hit any part, any depth of my soul. I just want you to have the balls to say it. And that's the reality. And I get that he said it and he's thinking out of place of love. And it's based on grouping and generalizations of how other women are. But I am not like other women, and I am not like other men. And I have not lived that way. And I have decided that whenever I live my life, all of my life every day, whenever it's my turn to live my own life, that I'm living it in truth. And you make me step into deception all the time because I can't speak my truth. If you offend me, even if it's not your intention, even if you did it out of a place of love, why is that a problem that I say it? And why can't you just stop doing it? Very simple. If I'm offending you over and over with a behavior that I'm having, and you tell me, I'm going to work on that. I've never in 20 years had you come to tell me anything about me, except when I come to tell you about you. And the only things that you've ever had to say about me is how my actions make you treat me like this. That's all. Trust me. You know why? Because when you cheated on me, during that time, all you were doing was causing everything I did was wrong. Everything I did, and all I kept doing was thinking about how I can make you happy, which is how the hell the obvious things happened in front of me. Like a fog. Like the reason why I can never articulate even to explain to people what happened is because I'll have to explain how stupid I was for what day is it that somebody's husband will go out of town and say, I don't know when I'm coming back? And then say he lost his phone and then, like, what day is it? But because I'm working all the time on getting you happy and you telling me that I'm making you upset because this and I'm dancing around. And listen, what I learned during that time is that you still to this day have never come to me and said, this is what happened, whole story to end, without deception somewhere in there or leaving out a part. Most offensive part is you telling people that I hit you and all that when I will. Listen, as God's my witness and strike every child down in this house dead, I didn't do that. Strike every child in this house dead if I hit you and woke you up. Dead. Now, when you can say a truth like that, I'll listen with conviction. But I know when you lie, and I know when you tell me the truth. And you lie about the stupidest things, still the smallest things, or you leave it out, or you only want to tell me information as it pertains to me. Like the mortgage getting served, like people come and tell me, you have a sign here, you've been served. Like, oh, none of your business, da-da-da. Well, I mean, it kind of is if I have to sign a paper that says I have to get served. You don't tell me any of that. And then the frustrating part is you want me to be upset that you have all this stuff to do that you volunteered to do all on your own. When I took the burden of the bills off you, no, you had to have it all yourself. That's how you had the money to do whatever you did. And even to this day, you still can't give me truth, and I don't need it. I almost died because you didn't give it to me. I almost died because you didn't give it. But you know what? When God gave me the truth about what it is, it doesn't even matter. You don't even know it. You still won't take a second to figure it out. Every step, everything, every consequence you face was according to a court file, and you check, and you did those things, but you never, your obligation, your duty to God and me and yourself was to figure out how you violated all of us. But you never did. And listen, there's nothing that you can do to make me not understand that. That is a part of my whole life, a huge part. And the recovery of who I was supposed to be at this point in my life is still happening. I'm still behind. And so I don't care no more about appeasing you. This is literally truth or it. And if you just don't like it, then don't make any decisions on my behalf, which I already say over and over and over again. And I think about, like, where did this come from? Because I'm always looking like, where is this? Did you arrive here, right? Where did this person of you, your person, how did you hide for so long? And then I have to go back to the unanswered questions when I met you, which is all the time, everything you did was, oh, I'm sorry. It'd be my fault. You say I'm sorry. And I just thought that was weird. Like, I was just like, that's weird. So that's unanswered questions. Like, why? God, why does he do it? And so when you forgot God, that was when I sought God. So it's different. I have a relationship. And so when you weren't asking God about me, because we were just meeting, I was all those loose ends. And it's just dawned on me when I prayed about it not long ago that, because I don't think that you intentionally deceive me with yourself, right? I don't think that, because you are not who I met, right? You have a version of you in there, but the product of who you are the decision that you made since I met you to either develop or not. Professionally, you've done that, right? You're always able to pull out a public appearance. You've done that. You've always had a public image, but I'm talking about as a person. The only person in this world who knows you at 44 is me. That's it. That's it. And in that time, first 5 or 6 years, it's like you strive to be a different version on purpose. Because Rachel and your sisters and people who talk to me told me this version. They told me this version. They told me this version. And so I prayed about, like, how then? Because it's deceptive if you came at me and you came as a wolf in sheep's clothing, which is who you would be if you hide yourself. And when you met me, I didn't hide nothing. Nothing. You know why? Because truth, I was 6, 7, 8 years old. And when you were going through your trauma, you chose to hide and I didn't. And that ain't blaming you. But what I'm telling you is I did the work at 6, 7, 8, 9. So you don't know me because I keep telling you this. I keep telling you who I am. And you keep choosing to believe or whatever it is that I am that. And you created that version of me in my own head. But it's gone now. And I'm so glad. But now I have to try to rebuild that. And every time you show that regression, it triggers that stage in life. And I don't want that, because then now I got to go to therapy. You never went to therapy to figure out what you're doing to cause these things on my behalf. Making decisions for me. Like making decisions for me. Like when you made a decision that I'm going to take you to go on a girls trip and go do it. We made a decision. We made a decision. We made a decision. We made a decision to not tell me, to help me to tell me. When you hear the truth from me, for me. I don't want another lie in my life, and I don't care that it comes from strangers. But from the people that I choose in my life, I'm not going to accept lies from anymore. I'm not going to accept them treating me or making decisions that cost me time, emotional energy, money, effort, or anything negative if it's not adding. If it's not adding. And I just don't know I don't know who I don't want to say, because I have to choose my words right, because it's like when I met you, and I feel like everything is built on a lie that you understood, and then I just want to, I don't know, clarify that. Like when we met, we've never had this, I never saw you before you ran next to me of who you were. And I know you I'm joking around that I hit on you and I was playing I don't know how it doesn't track that all I do is play for 20 years. Like, I don't understand how you don't know that version of who I am, that all I do is joke around. And I've explained that version to you so many times, and then you've explained a whole nother version. And at first I was like really combative with you about it. And then you would be like, I'm just joking. But it's not, because it was important to me that any foundation that I had was built on truth. It was built on truth. And so I don't fault myself in the decisions that I would make. But if I was seriously aware like I am now, I would have never went forward off of even that. Because it's just not true. It's just not true. When I met you, I wasn't looking for anybody. I don't want to date anybody. Because of the wolves. Everybody's a sheep when it comes to You think, oh, I want to find out where you live? Look at me. I have a taser right now because somebody knocked on my window. Does it look like I care because I wanted to take you home? Do I look soft like that? Since you've been with me? I'm not. And so it was very important for me to have that understanding with you. And even though I spoke it, you chose to believe whatever truth you wanted to. So whatever you built, whatever version of me that you built, it's just not true. So at this point, you don't know my desires. You don't know my intentions. You don't know anything. You don't rely on me or esteem me for any knowledgeable area in our life, even though every house that we've ever been into since we've been married is a result of me praying and going to get it. Every single thing we have, even the recovery we have, is a result of me praying and recovering. And you say we when it's I, and I give you conversation of people who do the same thing, and you, like if I tell you about a person that, like Ashley, what she was doing to me, and I said, she's, with the passive aggressiveness of silence, that's the same thing that you, and I say, I don't do well when people do, and you're like, yeah, I can't stand it, but at this moment, you should have identified that in yourself. And so I'm doubly defeated in that moment. I also can't communicate it because you're going to be upset and you're going to lash out on me and you're going to throw words at me. So I can't confront you until I have enough spiritual energy to do it. That's sad and that's crazy because I have to do it with each one of these kids and it's uncomfortable. They don't treat me like that. They don't treat me like that. And it is hard for me to feel like you're that disconnected with who I am. And so all I'm asking is that you not reconsider, but I'm asking that you, every time you think on my behalf that it's probably wrong, don't do it. Just don't do it. I don't think on your behalf. That is just a lot of gall to make decisions for somebody.
I'll work on that.
To make decisions.
I won't do it. I'll work on it.
I appreciate that, honey.
Okay.
But I just want to tell you that it comes out of love. And only because if I didn't love you and I didn't want to make sure that we were together, I wouldn't do this because it's upsetting to me and I could have went to bed and I'm tired and I don't feel like doing it. But at the end of the day, every day I can't keep leaving words in my head and then not being able to sleep and mentally, physically having a problem. And it's frustrating because your own mom is going through that. And you don't identify you have more compassion about for your mom as if you have for me. It's example of your family overreacting. Not long ago, you're like, they called you, your mom ain't gonna live past the week. That's crazy. That's crazy. Unless she kills herself. That's crazy. That's crazy. And no matter what I say to correct whatever y'all smart to think it is, y'all just be like, nope, this is what it is. Because it doesn't matter who tells you as long as they tell you. Then you believe it. None of y'all are doctors. Nobody in your family has you guys have Crisco, like your dad gave me on my feet and socks. Like you have Haitian home remedies. That's not medical, actual diagnosis. So you have to live your life not like you were raised because you were raised in what fashion? That is the standard. You can't keep doing whatever you grew up doing. I'm saying that because the kids with money.
I have to interject here because my aunt is a critical care nurse. So that comment about my mom.
Okay, never mind.
She told me about that.
Listen, she might have said that, but it wasn't what. And I said, what is it based on? Your mom is still alive. When I said she would still be alive. So you know what? At the end of the day, you can keep on interjecting about the people that you talk to. But how many times am I right? And when am I wrong? Please tell me one time. Because at the end of the day, you can roll your eyes, but that same audacity that I have and understanding and knowledge is why you have what you have and why I've been a good steward over the money that you make, that you only play for you. Listen, everything about the way that you treat me as far as the hierarchy of this marriage is everything that I prayed to never be a part of and why I never wanted to get married. And the thing that's offensive about that is I told you all of these things just so that you understood. Listen, at any point, check out because this is a lot of stuff because of what I grew up with. And because of what I've had to go through. What are things that you have not had to go through. So for you to be frustrated with me for having the boundaries that I have, given the fact that you don't have any boundaries. Like, even with the kids with money, you tell me not to spend money, but they spend money. Listen, I promise that I don't buy anything that I'm not supposed to buy with your money. And it is your money. Trust me. So, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'd be like, I wish that God would give you the alternative. Because you don't understand. You don't. Like, I know what real life sacrifices I make every day. And the only reason that I have it is not because of you. It's not because of my respect for you. It's not because of that. It's because I've never wanted anybody to give me anything when they didn't want it. I know what it feels like. I know what it looks like. And I hate it. I don't like nobody giving me anything. And the biggest growth I had to make with being a Christian is accepting people giving me stuff. And so, trust me, I know exactly what color purple kind of situation. I can't stand it because money is stupid. You guys are about money. I don't mind no money. I don't care about no money. I don't. I care about resources, experiences, and none of that requires money. Somebody can gift me those things. I don't know. You buying shoes, you buying the kids' shoes, and I'm sitting over here like you always talking about. Every time I look, we're getting an account talking about our money's low. And you know what? No, I'm not in that. Because if you ever want to actually discuss with me about a budget, which is a huge problem in this house, then you won't even be able to do it because the problem will be you. It will be you. There's no way. Listen, I made more with less when you made less. I made more out of when you made less. But every time the kids need something, they need it. Daddy said, oh, I already bought the Beats. I already bought. You buy it. You tell them you don't get it. You don't talk to me about it. You don't have to tell me you respect me. The problem is you keep telling me you love me. Telling me you respect me. Telling me. Listen, I don't care what you tell me. It's how you treat me. And it's how real life actions determine it. Because respect is a body language thing. It's not. You look at it as, make sure you kiss me when you come home. That gives me anxiety because I don't do that on purpose. But every time I come home, no matter what I have going on my mind, I have anxiety just because I might forget to kiss you. And that's ridiculous because you know what? You'll be, oh, that's ridiculous. Well, you know how ridiculous it is that a person has to feel that way about you? That's really what's ridiculous. Not the fact that they feel that way. Not the fact that they told you they feel that way. The fact that they feel that way. You care more about what you're told. So if I accidentally call you boy, it is an accident and it is not disrespectful. But the reality is internally, that's what I think. And not on purpose. Because when I'm going to address you, that's what comes up. But it's based on you. It's based on your spiritual and your maturity growth. Because for a while, I remember when I did that and I remember when I didn't. I have to force myself to respect you all the time, more and more, to where it's like, all this is an act. And because I have to do it an act, I have to keep a checklist because lies keep checklists and it can't be natural. And I don't do that. I don't. And then I hate you for it. I hate you that got to hold on to the smallest amount of news that might upset you. You have to go and figure out why your spirit can't be told nothing. Not a single thing. And you know what? Your son can't either. And you know what? Guess what? I know that it's not my responsibility to check you on that, but it is my responsibility to check him on it. And the problem is, if you're not correcting yourself with the things that you do that I'm correcting them on, it forces me to have to use those examples that you're doing as what they're not supposed to do. And I have to do that. I do it. Because, daddy does it. Well, guess what? In that moment, you want me to choose respect over train up a child. Which one? Because I'm going to choose train up a child. It's not, listen, the work to self-improve is hard. It's hard. And over these years, when I've had opportunities that I've said, these are areas you can grow, and you dismiss me because of however you respect me in your mind is how you treat me. And so if you respected me, you would be like, man, iron sharpens iron. Because that's what it is. You know the Bible better than I do. Iron sharpens iron. Well, you know what it also does when the other person ain't iron? They get cut. And so that's why it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I cut everywhere I go. You told me that. Everywhere. Remember what you told me? Everywhere you go, you start trouble. Everywhere you go, you always into it with somebody. Your words that you've deposited over 10 years or so are rooted. They're rooted. You go right to church and hear the word and those words and everything he's saying. You're like, yep, amen. And I'm thinking, what? Because you act like you don't know what it is. And I'm a walk in all of that right now. Every word. You think one prayer casts out words? It doesn't. You've deposited more disrespectful words than respectful words. Because who I am to you versus who I am to somebody, like, say, that I met, or these people, I know how every person that I'm around feels about me. And I'm not around any of the ones that don't feel great about me. But I am around you. And yes, we have good times and we are friends. But when it comes to respect, value, love, and the things that is supposed to happen in a marriage, that's not what I'm getting. And you can't disagree with me because you don't have a healthy experience in marriage. You don't. Your dad didn't do anything healthy with your mom. Your mom didn't do anything healthy with your dad. And you have to ask yourself why when I met you, you still say they were married when your dad and your mom still weren't living together. So I spent 5 years, 6 years thinking that you were just naive and gullible. For real. And I used to tell you that. And my mom used to say that. And my dad used to say, I used to tell you that. But it's like, the reality and understanding and growing and understanding what things are, you understand that that's just cowardice. You guys don't want to confront whatever it is. And so you look this way. When your sister was going down the wrong path, I was the only one telling you guys. I was freaking out. And you guys were like, oh, she works downtown. Yeah, but no restaurant. She's likely stripping. And then who's the first person who even called you guys to tell you that Rachel had a mental? Me, because I was the only one calling, checking in on her. And I put so much of my time and love into your family. Your family just despises me. You know that when I was growing up, my mom treated me, my dad didn't treat me as bad as my mom, but my mom treated me terrible. And I said, it's going to be really nice when I get married and I have a chance to have a mom. But boy, all it did was help me to understand that there's a hate that's way thicker than anything that my family has ever produced. There's a thickness of hate in your family, in their house. And I've always said it, and you don't want to hear it. Whatever, I just don't like to hear it. There's hate and there's darkness. And that's on you too because you won't break it. And so you know what? I don't care about your family at all. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that after 18 years of them telling me whatever they want to, kicking me down whenever they want to, and the second that they can get rid of me and my kids, they did. The same way they got rid of your daddy and his kids. Because all you have to do is tell me that poor stories. Those aren't poor stories. That's not really poor story. Your mom and you told me about every little story about inequity when y'all had a maid from Haiti in the house, and then also 2 incomes, and then also China that I didn't even know the name of dishes until I met you, till we moved in together. Till your mom told my dishes was trash. Which was funny at the time. And so when I inherit the fact that I have to bear the weight of whatever infirmities your family have that pull you towards that. And that's pretty much rooted is one of the only things that I probably have to work out with God is that I don't like your family because of how they treated me. I cannot stand them. And that's hard because even though I cannot stand them, I still got more respect for your mom than you and your siblings. Who's going to do what you say you'll do? I still got more respect for your mom than to say y'all are wrong for trying to just fucking shove her in ashes. I still got more respect for her than you guys do. Because you know why? All you have is rules. You guys are Catholic rules. Whatever the church little problem you guys have is let me do right. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do all these things that's right. Check, check, check. I'm going to bring you your coffee, and I'm going to do all these things for you so that when the second that I do something wrong, I can tell you about all the things that I do for you. But the reality is this. I did not ask for those things. Also, if I have to pay a tab on anything given to me, I promise I'll give you double to get away from me. Because all I've been around are stingy takers or givers or expectors. I don't have anybody that I'm around that's benevolent, that's honestly like me. You are not the version that you think you are. Like, you go talk to people and are nice to people, and then you come back and you're like, oh, I can't stand da-da-da-da. That's not who I am. That's who you are. I hate that version. I have a right to hate that version because it's not you. And I'm so sick of those same people that you talk and you can't stand come and tell me how great you are, about how you still did all these things for them. And all I can think about is how I can't enjoy my studio space because there's a run of paint going from my door to the trash because you were pissed off in a whirlwind that day and ran paint all through my studio, and I didn't even need you to do what you were doing. I didn't tell you to take that out, but you know what? You said I was doing it for you. And so every day when I look at that, I have to say, that was for me. And as a result of him doing it for me, I have paint right here. And I have the landlord that I just begged to come in this space, and though it's raggedy, that he is messaging me about, and the paint's still not there. And then when you went to go correct it, you're mad that you had to correct it, so you have corrected it, da-da-da-da-da. The same thing with the floor. Well, what did you expect? Well, I asked you not to do what you were doing. I said, let's do that a different way. And then you still did it and told me it was in my best interest. And now, every time that I'm in my space and the stuff is rolling down and da-da-da, and I'm thinking like, all I asked, there was a simple solution for it. You just didn't want. I don't have time for it, da-da-da-da-da. You asked for my help, I don't have time for it, then don't help. But here's the reality, and I promise you, I know that you don't know, because if you knew, we wouldn't be talking about this. But if you talk to the people who really knew me, they will tell me I don't need you to do anything that is happening in there. When you came to my apartment, yeah, it was cute. That how I hung stuff up was all ghetto. Look at this. It's not technically correct. It's not I didn't know what any of that shit was. And guess what? None of it adds value to who I am today. Not me knowing dish names. Not me going to the Bahamas with your sister. Not any of it. You know what I do see? All the things that I don't want my kids to be. Every single thing I don't want my kids to be. Right? The only person that's isolated and one is Debbie. And I keep telling you about, I'm more worried about Debbie than I feel like you guys are. And she's the only one. And you know what? Not because I have to know her. Just because you told me. She dropped out of school. She's been living with that boy all that time. That girl is mentally in prison then. Because I'm mentally in prison. And you don't treat me nearly like he treat me. So can you imagine what? Listen, I promise that my heart breaks for her, and she hasn't told me one word about what's going on with her. Not one. Because I understand suppression, heaviness. I never even made a statement about somebody's foot stepping on my neck, and that's you. That's the description that I give when I talk to PT or whoever I have to talk to about it. I can't breathe. And so guess what? Yeah, I can go get medication just to sedate myself so that I can come home and remember to kiss you and remember that none of that's love. Like, none of that really represents that. Like, I'm manic in my mind all over the place because I'm constantly trying to figure out what somebody's going to do next to ruin momentum for me. Like, so I'm manic and I have to figure out how to deal with that, but I can't because all my life I've only been able to do this, and then somebody goes to do this. And it's always, couldn't control it when it was my mom and dad, right? 18, I can control the rest of my life. Then I met you. And then, you know what? I made what I thought were decisions that we both understood the gravity of what they were. I'm a go-getter. I never stop doing anything. If it can't get done, I'll rollerblade, walk, crawl, whatever. Everybody knows that about me. Everybody. And without you, I would still be doing that same thing. And so every time we spoke, told you these things about me. so that you understand how and why I move. None of it has mattered, because the person that you think that I am, and which is how you treat me, is not correct about who I am. So I know that you are able to hang stuff up and do those things neater than I am. But I also know that every place you dwelled, none of that shit would have mattered, because it relied on me getting whatever it was to get and telling you where the damn nail was to go and to put it. So if you have a blank canvas, where do you start ever about anything we've done in life? Because I have always put the wheels in motion for that. And all I've gotten from that is don't spend your money. So, and you can do, go on a girl trip. I'm gonna, whatever. It's et cetera. It's all in my mind all the time. And sad part is, even you know that I can't even find consistent therapy to help me. And you won't even go and consider it as the person who caused it. But that's love? That's not love. Because had you done the work then, there would not be this same version that was also there before that happened. That's still here now, doing the same stuff. And all I'm saying, honey, is it's so easy if you respect me as being a separate individual, and like I respect you of being a separate individual. I don't have any expectation. I don't have a single expectation other than you telling me the truth. And you know what the truth is? The truth is not just you not lying while you're speaking. The truth is saying the things that you're supposed to tell me when they're happening, like the mortgage stuff. That's the reason why when you tell me stuff that's small and mediocre, I just look at you. You know why? I don't care. You don't tell me about the stuff I need to know. You tell me the stuff that you choose to tell me. So the stuff you tell me, when you tell me, like, it's insulting. It's insulting. Because this ain't the 40s. When you call on to your wife and say, hey, get a raise today, but we also not talking about the fact that the mortgage hasn't been paid and that you might get served. That's something I want to know, right? But you tell me about the part that's just information. If you tell me something I can't do or I can't do anything about, I probably don't want to know about it. As if it's something that affects both of us, I definitely want to know about it. If it's something that affects me, I definitely want to know about it. If it's something that might be going down that could result in me being almost murdered because you want to date somebody else, or whatever the whole like umbrella of things that's happening since we've been married, if it's any of those things, I would like to just know the truth. And it's still to this day, I can't trust you because you've never told me the truth, even about the thing I know the truth about. And until you can do that, I don't know that you ever understand the gravity. You know why? Because it takes courage to say the things that you did to me. And you don't have it. And that's a problem for me. And it's frustrating, right? Because I'm too dominant of a woman to be with someone who's a coward. Because I'm not a coward. And I hate cowards. I do. Because all my life, all I've seen was cowards watch stuff happen. And now all you've done was tell me that I'm aggressive because of me just wanting to start crap. No, I'm protective of me and I'm protective of mine. You are not. Just like what happened to you. I understand what happened to you. I do. I want to be clear about what your cousin did to you. But it wasn't the time to tell you then, but it is the time to tell you now. What I really hate about having to attach to that story is the lack of respect that I have for you, that we stayed in that house and my damn son was in there and he didn't sleep with us and he was downstairs. So I can't tell you how every day I want to ask Noah, did that fucking girl touch him? You see what I'm saying? So we're different. And I get why you're a coward, because you've not confronted those things. You've not confronted anything that happened to you and that results in that. I get it. And all you do is make sure that it looks good, like on the surface. Like all you cared about when you cheated was, you're never gonna live this up. I'm never gonna have a clean slate. Because it's all about you being perfect. Nothing. It's not real. It's not real. It's a lie. It's a lie by existing. It's a lie. By existing in that fashion, it's a lie. And it's also prideful because all you get from doing that is great job and good things. That's all you get from that. But then you come home and you dump garbage on me. Negative, everything, because you've given all your goodness away to people you can't even stand. But you don't have the balls to tell them you can't stand them. And I have to sit there and listen to you, and all I think when you tell me that is why you didn't tell them. Because I can't do it. I can't. Not just you, whoever. If it was my dad, my mom, sister, brother. If they come to me and say all these things later, why didn't you say to your brother at the time? That's what I want to know. And nobody in my life, in real life, is like that. There's nobody I respect except people that are outside of my circle that I know who they are and who they are, what they stand for. No, everybody else is just smiling and letting people live reckless and die, let them strip on poles until they die just so we don't have to address that. Because if we know about it, then we have to feel something about it, and then we might have to do and walk in love by telling that person. And walking in love is truth. Lying is for the person who's lying. That is who it's for. The only person scared of truth is the liar. There is no balance of sometimes you can hide some stuff and that's not a lie. Sometimes partial truths are a lie. Right now I don't believe anything you say to me. That's a problem. If you promise to do it, I don't even know. Every day I catch myself because I want to call and rely on you for something, and I say I can't, and I don't do it. That's not on purpose. That's not on purpose. That's because of a pattern that you've set. And so all I'm trying to do is say, instead of what people do as cowards, and one day say, I want a divorce because I cannot stand you. And that's a natural reaction to somebody being with somebody who's ignored how they feel and treated them any kind of way when they wanted to, and then treated them nicely when they wanted to. If you're tired, you treat me nice. If you're not tired, treat me nice. If you're tired, I have to say, well, I'm tired. Well, I'm depressed clinically, and I have mental diagnosis, and I'm not acting like you. I'm striving every day for normalization, and you're upset about a daily bodily function that's going to happen every day. It's going to happen every day. You're going to be tired every day. But every day, the reason why you're going to act or treat or talk to me, the reason is because of X, Y, Z. The reason doesn't matter. Your reason is your problem. Your problem. You tired? Your problem. Then go get away from everybody. Go under a rock. When I'm upset, I don't come home. I just go do what I'm going to do. And then sometimes even during that time, you'll be upset with me because I want to go do what I'm going to do. Okay, then I'm going to come home with attitude and you're going to be upset with me then. It's not real. Do you understand the space? Did that sound like any space? It didn't. And then I hyperventilate. And now I'm not on that medication. I know every feeling that I'm having. And it's scary, upsetting, and I cannot find balance. But you just get to do and be like, all day long. You get to all day long. And the second I come, and the second I'm explosive, then you're like, and the way you look at me, I have never had nobody in my life haughty like you. I never used the word. I knew it was one, but I have never had it like with you. Because y'all are too high and mighty. And I am way on the humility, way down here. Goodwill, everything. You know why? Because everything else is pretentious. I can't stand it. All I'm saying is please give me space to be able to communicate with you, and you be able to say, okay, and take that and work on it. And then if there's issues that you have with me, then bring them up. I am never opposed to you doing that. And it's unfair to say like eggshells and all the things like I cannot block anymore. character deflections that people have about me. I can't. All my life. My sisters tell me this and that. You know what my mom failed to realize? Like, if both of my sisters are telling me the same thing about me and that, then who the fuck has me? Then who the fuck has me? So I'm running around silently terrorizing people, fucking over people, doing this bullshit by myself, and not even coming up and saying nothing about them. And somehow you treat me like that because you're trying to be fair, because she's trying to think for me. This is what's best. This is what's best. And you come try to think. Listen, unless you take the time to sit with me and open your ears to listen without telling me about your experience, because all of our life, that's what you've done. I've told you an experience, and then you told me about a experience that's supposed to be comparable, but it's never been comparable, because it's like, that's an experience that would have been, I've never experienced even being able to go to do whatever. I've experienced going from a block in Kenner, and you go to my hometown and you see where I'm from, and then you see the humble, and you act humble there, and then brand new over here. You come right back with the same maids. Like, at some point, you're going to need to call your cousin and confront her. At some point, you're going to need to confront everything. Because I'm not going to lie that if you ever really put the kid in danger and like that, because that's in danger. That's terrible. That's like, when you told me that, I couldn't even feel sorry for you, because I instantly thought about my son who could, because you didn't have the courage to even tell nobody until we've been married and you've had all these things and you've gone to forceful therapy classes and said you have all these things that you're supposed to be concerned about, but yet when you got your paper signed, you never went back. And that work for you is supposed to be your accountability to me. You've never done anything to be accountable to me. You borrowed money, whatever, money from your sister, because you can't go against your sister. The reason why you can't go against your family is because they're your source. They're your fallback. I don't have a fallback. I live life without a fallback because there's no fallback. You can let your sister tell me everything wrong. You won't tell her nothing because you might need a loan? Please. How am I supposed to respect that? How? They can tell your wife anything. I've been cornered in gyms by men while you stood right there. I never had you come to my defense. Never. Never, not once. And the only reason I let you help me, and I swear to God I'm saying it correctly, because everything you do, I can get done. The only reason I let you help me is because when it comes down to it and people see it, they're going to say, oh yeah, he did all this. And I'm going to say, no, just like Ashley. It's the same thing. So when I was talking about Ashley, I was struggling with you both with the same thing. But you only heard Ashley. And my thing is, when somebody's talking to you, like when you talk to me sometimes and you say something, I say, well, I can't say anything about that because I do that all the time. I identify myself because I can't say anything. What am I supposed to do? I can't, you'll be like going off about some personality. And I'm like, well, I do that, so I can't really, say anything. You've never once done that. I tell you these stories about like our situations and you are literally exactly doing those things. And then you'll comment on that person because of how you esteem yourself, of being better. And that's difficult for me because I'm just like, if you're not self-aware, then you're never going to treat me right. And that's not promising. You're never going to treat me right. So yes, it's banter and it's nice and I love you and we interact well. But in between that are these spaces and they're getting bigger all the time. And I just don't want them. I don't want it. I'm not going to do like last time where I just sit and just work and try to like figure out what monkey you need today. I'm not going to do that. Because whenever I had to figure out where I went wrong during your affair, which is what I had to do, the audacity of that was part of that. Is me watching you go outside to talk on the phone. And instead of when it did come and say, that's not cool. What is that? That's weird. That's different. And I said to myself, no, because trust is a choice and it's respect. And I gave all of that. And now you just think I'm supposed to just have it back. Are you serious? Like, I gave that to you. I gave you all the space and rope that you needed to do what you have to do. You have to do what you have to do. And I'm not lying. I swear to God, I feel like I always swear, I think I have a tumor just because of what you've done to me. Like, I don't even know because of the mental I had to go to bleeding. I had to go through UTIs. And just the grossness of that being I just feel like there's something there, right? And there's nothing that I can do because even when I spoke about it, Pastor Will was like, you're fine. Why? Because he's walking around screwing, giving everybody syphilis and don't care. And you're protected by them doing that. And even during then, when they treated me like crap and took your side, you sat and took that. And even when your family turned their back on me and you already knew I didn't have my family, you also called them every day and you sucked up resources on both sides. And that's still who you are. So there's things that you did that were things that you did at the time because the opportunity presented itself. You just haven't had that opportunity again, but your behaviors are the same. And that's frustrating when you think from my position because of everything that I've gone through that you've witnessed. You share in that suffering, but you were going through your harvest and I was just trials and tribulations of this world. And so really different experiences. When I cause it myself, I bear my cross. I don't expect anybody to feel sorry for me. Like the fact that you even voice any sort of like complaint or dissatisfaction of how the process was and how you were unfairly treated. That's not true. You were not unfairly treated. We had no kids and you did that to me, you would still be in jail. That would not, listen, unequivocal. I promise. Because I can't tell you how many dreams I have to get fighting because I see you choking me, and I can't tell you how 100% is the case that if Noah didn't wake up, that you would have killed me. Look at that time right there. Look at it. Look at the time. Every day, that's going to come up for me. I don't see time any other time, but the devil gets to show me 11:11 all the fucking time. So you don't get to treat me any kind of way. You suffer it. You figure out what the hell is wrong with you, and you go fucking deal with it because you don't get to deal with me because 11:11 is already your portion for me.